Hey Falcon fans, I'm Thomas Mott. Welcome to Atlanta Falcons Today. We're getting to a mailbag video coming up here in just a couple of seconds. First, we did it. We got to 4,000 subscribers here on the channel. I've been asking for this for days and days and days. You guys finally came through. Hit that red subscribe button, got us to 4K subs. I appreciate all 4,000 of you. If you're a new subscriber, old subscriber, you haven't subscribed yet, I appreciate each and every one of you guys subscribing and watching this channel. Now, let's jump into your guys' mailbag questions. All right, first question here comes from John Smith, who says, RB is going to be a big offseason priority, even if Cordarrelle Patterson is re-signed. In this draft class, I think the Falcons can find a back with a day 3 pick or just a day 2 pick more likely. Well, there are always going to be backs in day 3, right? You're talking about the 5th, the 6th, the 7th round, but really, you want your back to be on day 2, right? Day 1 is too early. Day 2 is where you want to find your running back, and tell me, there are a ton of good running backs that are going to be there in day 2. Take a look at this draft class right now. These are your 4 best, right? These are the top 4 running backs. Just even looking at, the top 8 running backs. You have Isaiah Spiller, probably the best running back overall. Breece Hall out of Iowa State, again, right up there. CJ Verdell out of Oregon, fantastic running back. And Kenneth Walker, who is really good as well. Any one of those 4 can be there in round 2. Now, someone is going to take a running back in the first round. You see that every single year. If you're desperate for a running back, the Steelers took Najee Harris at 24 overall. But for the majority of all the other teams, they will take a running back in rounds 2, 3, and 4. There will be one of these 4 running backs there in round 3, I guarantee it. Because, listen, running back is just not that important for a lot of teams who already have running back by committee, or already have their guy. And so while these guys are all going to be gone by round 3, in my opinion, at least by the end of round 3, the Falcons are going to have their chance to go ahead and take one of the 4. And if it's not one of the 4, it'll be one of the next 4 that we didn't even show you guys here, because there are a lot of very good running backs. Either way, the main point is they got to get a running back, and they have the ability to do so. Again, spending an early draft pick on a running back, you're saying, Thomas, a third-round draft pick is a little high. I know, but look at the depth chart, right? Cordarrelle Patterson cannot be their number 1 rushing attack in terms of actual running backs. Wayne Gallman's not done much. And obviously, Mike Davis has been very much MIA this year, not doing anything rushing the football. They've got to add a running back. Maybe they do it in free agency, but more likely than not, they're going to do it in rounds 2 or 3 of the NFL draft, and one of the 4 I just showed you are going to be the best options. Okay, pin comment down below. Now, we talk about wide receiver a lot as well, being the other offensive issue right now for the Falcons. Which of the 2 positions do you think the Falcons need more, running back or wide receiver? Type RB down below for running back, or type WR down below for wide receiver. All right, next question comes from Connor B, who says, do you see a defensive player or offensive player being taken with our first-round draft pick next year? Defense 100%. Like, the Falcons have to draft defense first. And I just talked about how they need a running back, they need a wide receiver. These things can be true, but defense is clearly the number 1 priority right now. And really, it's pass rusher. Like, pass rusher, maybe cornerback, right? If they're sitting there at 8, 9, 10, and the pass rushers are gone, the Michigan one, the Oregon one, and then you're sitting there with Derek Stingley out of LSU, I'd be fine with that. But in reality, you've got to find a pass rusher. And I just mentioned, Oregon, Michigan, both have very good pass rushers right now. Hutchinson, I think, is the Michigan guy's last name. I'm blanking on it right now. Either way, there are plenty of good pass rushers in the first round, and that's really where you need to go. You need to hit on him. Right, you can't just draft a pass rusher like Tack McKinley, and then he eventually doesn't even finish out his first contract with the Falcons because he's an absolute bust, right? You got to get a guy who turns out to actually be good and actually be able to produce. And I don't know who that's going to be, but Atlanta must go defense first. And honestly, I wouldn't hate going defense 1 in the first round, defense in the second round, and then going running back or wide receiver in the third round, as we just mentioned. Jim asked, with Ridley being out being out most of the year, doesn't that free up cap space to make a move? No, it does not, actually. So Calvin Ridley is still making his entire contract, his entire salary for the 2021 NFL season, right? There, because of the mental health labeling of this, he is still going to make his money. It's the same thing as if he were to blown out his ACL. He's still going to make his money. Now, there are a little bit of bonuses here or there that come with play on the field, and so he's not going to make the entire contract that he is paid, or supposed to be paid in 2021, but he still is 100% making money right now, being on the sideline, or not even being on the sideline, not even being with the football team. And there's also no real update. Arthur Smith was asked about it on Monday, and he said there's no update, there's no timetable. I don't think he's going to come back this year. I really don't. The real question is what happens in 2022? Because Ridley's $11.116 million is fully guaranteed because they exercised his 4th-year option. So you're technically going to have to pay him $11 million next year unless, I don't know, he retires, which is obviously not going to happen unless you trade him, right? Like, the Calvin Ridley situation is being very much suppressed right now in Atlanta because there's not very much they can actually do based on the fact he's dealing with mental health issues. But this is going to be something that they have to figure out this offseason, especially if he doesn't play the rest of the year. Like, if we don't see Calvin Ridley at all in a Falcon uniform the rest of the season, I think you got to consider trading him next offseason. Now, does mental health thing have to do with playing in Atlanta? Does it have to do with playing with Matt Ryan, Arthur Smith? Is it something completely different off the football field? We don't know. But Atlanta must figure this all out because Ridley's costing them money that they could pay somebody else to play the same position because he's not obviously playing there right now. Before we get into the next mailbag question, quick shout out to our friends at BetUS. Go to chatsports.com/BetFalcons. Use the promo code Falcons125. Get that 125% deposit bonus whenever you first sign up. And so if you're a new user and you go to the link, use the promo code, you put your $100 deposit down, they turn it into $225 via the deposit bonus of 125%. That's 125% of $100 is $225, where we get the math right here. Then you can bet on the Falcons on Sunday, who are heavy underdogs against the Bucs, as we'll talk about, or bet on Atlanta United. Or you could bet on, obviously, Atlanta United season is over, but you could bet on, obviously, the Falcons or the Hawks right now, who have a big game coming up against the 76ers, which I'll be going to, actually, tonight, depending on when you watch this video, and then, of course, the rest of the season. So plenty of betting opportunities. Do with our friends at BetUS, chatsports.com/BetFalcons. That promo code is Falcons125. All right, God's Unspoken Vessels says, how much of our salary cap will we have next year to be able to pick up good free agents? It's not a lot. I was doing some math on this question before I went ahead and filmed, and technically right now, the Falcons are projected less than $5 million in 2022. Now, stop, pause, don't freak out. That can change. I read a bunch of different, reports talking about if they re-sign this guy, if they get rid of that guy, if they restructure this, it can get up to $15 to $20 million in free cap space. So right now it's low if you were to Google Falcons 2022 cap space, but it can get a lot higher. Baseline thought process here, though, is they don't have a ton. Right, they're not going to be able to go out and sign somebody for $20 million a year. It's going to be like, okay, $4,000 or $4 million a year move, an $8 million a year move. I don't think anything over $10 million in terms of a year salary is going to be possible in free agency. So I think they're going to spend a lot of it on re-signing their own. I think they're going to try to make a couple of additions, whether it's a cornerback or like a rotational pass rusher or even a running back. But don't expect crazy big moves, in my opinion, in 2022. The crazy moves are going to come in the draft, a.k.a. they're going to have to draft well in order to consider them to be crazy moves. You guys think the Falcons will make any big moves in 2022? I don't think they're really going to. Let me know what you guys think down below. Type Y down below for yes, or type N down below for no. Rohan10 says, you believe that the Falcons will have a true home field advantage anytime soon, since no fans show up anymore. No, at least not this year, right? I mean, you're going to look at it on Sunday against the Bucs. I got friends going to that game just because Tampa's going to be in town, and obviously it's Tom Brady. Maybe a little bit more full, but I don't see it. I mean, honestly, your only two home games remaining after the Bucs game are Detroit on the day after Christmas, and then the Saints there in the final week of the year in Week 17. The rest, of course, are all road games at Carolina, San Francisco, and Buffalo. I don't think this year is going to have any sort of change on actually fans being in seats. I think next year is going to be the big difference maker, but they have to get off to a hot start. I think the Eagle game Week 1 just turned everybody off. Like, even though there's still a lot of true and faithful Falcon fans out there, they realize they don't want to spend $300 to watch them get killed by Philadelphia. That's what happened Week 1. I was there. I think that next year you have a chance. Obviously, if they draft well, they make some move. They look good in preseason, but I do think that you're not going to have any chance this year for the home field advantage to actually become true, which is kind of sad because, again, they haven't had a true home field advantage in a very long time. All right, final question here. Dallas Blackwell says, of all the players that are on one-year contracts, who do you think they will re-sign? Do you think the Falcons retain Cordarrelle Patterson? I don't know about Cordarrelle Patterson. I went ahead and looked through all their free agents in 2022. There's a lot of them. Most teams obviously have them. Here are the 5 most important ones in my opinion, although there's some, obviously guys I left off this list. Patterson, Hurst, Koo, Zacchaeus, and Oliver. I think you got it for sure re-sign Patterson. He's played too well. Problem is, has he played himself into a big contract? Like, Patterson signed a one-year deal, very much bet on himself, and look what eventually he's going to give him. Like, he's scored a ton of touchdowns. He's been an impactful player, best offensive weapon the Falcons have had. I think he's going to be tough to re-sign. But the rest of the guys on the list, I think you re-sign Koo, and everybody else, Hurst, Zacchaeus, Oliver, I think you probably let him go and try to replace those with some younger and cheaper players overall. So I want to re-sign Patterson, but I'm very curious how much money he could command from another team that has more money to throw his way in free agency. I will finish with this question. Score prediction, Falcons Bucs. How do you feel? I think the Falcons are going to be within 10 in this one. I don't think it's going to be a blowout game, but I want your score prediction down below right now in the comments section. All right, ultimate order today on this edition of Atlanta Falcons Today in terms of our mailbag video. I appreciate all the new subscribers. If you have a Falcons-related question, go down below. Use the hashtag Falcons. Ask it in the comment section right now for a chance to be on next week's video. For Atlanta Falcons Today, I'm Thomas Mott signing off. Go Birds on Sunday as they take on the Bucs. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.